All right, welcome everyone to another edition of the Fans Talk Wrestling Podcast. FTW is a weekly WWE and TNA discussion where fans talk the wrestling world in all of its laughable glory. This is episode 242, recorded on November 25th, 2014 on FTWLive.com. Tonight is our Thanksgiving special. We'll be reacting to WWE Survivor Series, the final impact on Spike, as well as talk about what we're thankful for this year as wrestling fans. With us tonight is Nick. Say hello, Nick.
Gobble, gobble, motherfuckers.
And Joe. Say hello, Joe.
Hello, everybody.
My name is Gavin. If you're listening live, say hi and leave your thoughts in the comments here on FTWLive.com. If you're on Twitter, use the hashtag FTWLive. And if you're watching on YouTube, leave a like and make sure to subscribe. We release new videos throughout the week, not just from us, but also from members of the FTW community, just like you. Now, this Thanksgiving special is going to be interesting. Interesting experiment, something that we've sort of tried before, but not necessarily in this way. But what we're going to be doing, and we'll see what happens. But we're going to be sharing the direct link to the Hangout with everyone in our Facebook group, as well as the Google Plus community, and also in the live chat. So you guys will have access to join the show directly and tell us what you're thankful for. So get a list together and we'll talk about that in about 20 to 30 minutes. Because before we get into that, we're going to talk about WWE Survivor Series. So Survivor Series happened. I think it gave us a lot of really good vibes to move forward with. And I know I'm not the only one who thinks that, but let's first of all, let's go down the official card. Then we'll talk about what you guys said about it. So first, we had Bad News Barrett in the kickoff. Fandango defeated Justin Gabriel. We also had Jack Swagger to defeat Cesaro. On the main card, we had Miz and Mizdow win the tag team championships against Star and Goldust, Los Matadores, and the Usos. We also had Alicia Fox, Natalia, Naomi, and Emma defeat Paige, Cameron, Summer, and Layla. Roman Reigns was also live via satellite. Bray Wyatt defeated Dean Ambrose via DQ. Adam Rose and the Bunny defeated Slater Gator. Nikki Bella won the Divas Championship by defeating AJ via about a 20-second squash match. And Team Cena defeated Team Authority in a traditional Survivor Series match, which means Team Authority is no longer in power. So let's talk about the card. First of all, what was your favorite moment of the night, Joe?
Thinking about the whole thing, my favorite moment, I mean, there were some good moments, don't get me wrong. It would have to be, I'm going to say Team Cena winning with Dolph Ziggler being the sole survivor. Dolph busted his ass in that match.
Yeah, it definitely highlighted him very, very well. As far as, our conversations heading into this, we were talking about, like, who would benefit the most of being the sole survivor. And I think, like, we had secretly hoped that Dolph Ziggler would be that guy because he would benefit very well. But I don't think any of us really expected that to happen.
I did.
Well, shut up, Nick.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with Joe. I think Ziggler's performance in the main event was the highlight of the show. There were definitely other great moments. Bad News Barrett came back. That was pretty fun.
The pop for Mizdow.
Yeah, I mean, really. Mizdow has been on fire lately. And I like the fact that they are finally signaling signs of the break. Miz is treating him like garbage. Mizdow seems to be putting it for now, but who knows how long that'll go. And I do love that he's got the stunt titles now. That's awesome.
What about just the end of that match with them getting, like, Miz was booed out of the building, but Sandow was cheered by the fans.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you also can't forget Wyatt versus Ambrose. That was a solid quality match all around.
solid quality commercial for the next pay-per-view, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, I felt a little dirty on that one. Like, oh, so it's just a preview.
Yeah, it was kind of heavy-handed there at the end when he pulled out the ladder. So
yeah, I was definitely. I think everyone was expecting that to be the match of the night, and boy, were we wrong.
It wasn't bad, but it's just
No.
the ending.
Well, as far as the match goes, the match was over pretty quickly. It was just all the aftermath that happened after that.
True.
So from the live chat, lots of love for Ziggler. Also something we didn't really talk about. Sting coming in. That was kind of very, very unexpected, really. To have Sting come back in that position. Also being talked about in live chat is the tag team title changing hands, and again Ziggler becoming the sole survivor. So a lot of good things that came out of SummerSlam, not necessarily finished.
Survivor Series.
What did I say?
SummerSlam.
I blame pre-show live chat for that one. I always confuse what SS stands for. So Survivor Series, a lot of cool stuff that came out of it. Not necessarily carried on this week's Raw, from what I understand. Again, I missed this week's Raw, but whatever. So, anyways, again, a lot of good vibes. So this is what you guys said about it in the Facebook group as well as on Twitter and Google Plus. What you guys said to us about it. Lou said, I was on the verge of canceling my network subscription, walking away from wrestling for a while. Survivor Series changed that. It was by no means a brilliant show, but it had some bright spots that did enough to keep me around at least till Rumble. So yeah, I think a lot of people had that attitude, especially the end. So do you think that this good vibe is deserved, guys?
absolutely. If for no other reason than the fact that they finally delivered a decisive ending of what has traditionally been the off season. Usually they wait for these big moves until Mania, or at least leading right up to it. But no, now the Authority is out in late November, and it remains to be seen what follows after that. But I, for one, am extremely glad the Authority is over and done with.
Yeah, sorry. It's one of those shows.
Yeah, you know what? I'm with you, Lou. As far as the thought of canceling the network, while I don't think I shared that extreme want to shut off WWE. It's no lie that, or it's no secret that I didn't watch Raw last week. I didn't watch Raw this week. I'm not completely into the product, but there was a lot of surprises at Survivor Series, especially Sting. I really wanted to see what was going to happen with Sting moving forward. Still do. So, yeah, I mean, they opened the doors to a new creative direction to start off 2015, and I think that's a good start. It's a good start to what we're hoping for, which is WWE turning things around.
See, but do you think Sting's the reason the way to do that? Because for me, actually, it's more of a deterrent.
I think for those people that haven't seen him in TNA, I think that's going to be a draw. And even for people that did see him in TNA, I was not as down on Sting as a lot of people I've seen. Yeah, his matches started to get kind of but I still think he was pretty decent on the mic. I think he did okay for himself. But yeah, it's definitely the majority of the WWE fans who don't watch anything but WWE. I think this is a good move for them.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just the idea of staying in WWE. This is like something that we've been waiting 13 years for. So just to have it finally happen, I think is worth watching, worth experiencing that. At the same time, yeah, I mean, I was pretty down on Sting in his last run with TNA. Really, last 3 or 4 years of him in TNA were kind of down for me. But overall, I just think the nostalgia, and WWE thrives on it, and WWE's fan base seemingly thrives on that nostalgia. So having him come back and not say anything, just take out Triple H, I thought, yeah, I think that helps propel them into this new direction. Is it necessarily exactly what we wanted? No, but I still think it's a good start.
Okay.
Blue said, is it just me, or has WWE somehow managed to strike gold with Miz and Sandow? When the thing started, it was stupid, but Sandow's been amazing in that role and is selling it so well that everyone has bought into him. The scenes after their win at Survivor Series were great, with Miz getting booed and Sandow cheered the way they were. If they play this right, they can build up the suspense of people wanting to see Sandow in a great position when he eventually turns on Miz. They have struck gold with this. I share that sentiment in that this was awful when we first started. Like, this is not where we wanted Sandow. We wanted that little spark that we saw when Sandow took over the pre-show that one time, and basically was, he's done playing these bit characters every week. He wants to, he wants to be himself, kind of thing. He wants to go after top titles. I mean, that was the vibe that you got from that whole thing. And the next week it was back to the same old crap. And this whole Miz and Mizdow thing, again, was just an extension of that. But yeah, they have totally struck gold with this. But I wouldn't necessarily say WWE has. I don't necessarily think this was WWE's idea to get Sandow over. It's like the thing that we always talk about when character, or when wrestlers get bad characters, can they survive? Can they get over with it? We look at Fandango, and he really hasn't. It's a bad character for him, and he hasn't done well with it. But Sandow, on the opposite, this is a bad character, but he has done so exceptionally well with it that it doesn't matter. Fans are into it no matter what.
Yeah, when you own something like that, it doesn't matter as much if the character is good or bad. If you really sell it, like Sandow has, like Dusty Rhodes did when the McMahons put him with polka dots, when you can really take ownership of that, you could do a hell of a lot of stuff with it. And Sandow's been a prime example of that. He's been brilliant.
Yeah, the WWE does have a knack sometimes for, things that are really lame or stupid, and for some reason they can get them over. One of the things is like Fandango. Because as much as we love Fandango and love the in-ring work of Johnny Curtis, man, the character can grate on you. I mean, they take great stuff that probably should die, and they make it really entertaining. Oh, hold on. I seem to be getting an email from the Raw Anonymous General Manager. And I quote, no. I'm sorry, that's what I was setting up when I was like, oh, yeah. But, yeah. No, but they do have a knack for, I mean, there's certain guys and certain characters that you're just sitting there going, like, really? This is so stupid. But then it works. One of my favorite things to watch on that is watching El Torito and watching. You remember when Lee was alive and he'd get upset every time somebody brought up that little bowl?
Yeah.
That was awesome. Like, now it's just weak because, well, no, Lee's dead. Lee's not actually dead, ladies and gentlemen. We haven't seen him in a while.
If you play that bit backwards, it actually says Lee is dead.
He's not dead unless he is.
Yeah, Sandow, man. We have high expectations for him and what he can do, and playing a bad character but doing it so well is a great sign. A great sign that we are correct in those expectations. That this guy is the real deal, and hopefully this does propel him to where we think he can go. Because at this point, it's obvious that he can pretty much do anything. So. Deuce Loosely said, I had zero idea Sting would show up anywhere on TV yet. Yeah, I was in danger of waking the people above me when it happened. Been replaying the video a lot. So, you know, we've already talked about Sting as far as like, can he be the guy to propel us into the future? But overall, did you guys mark out at all when you saw Sting?
No.
I didn't mark out, but I was kind of excited for it. Just the idea of Sting being the guy to counter Triple H. Now the end result of that, I'm not. I didn't like that at all. But yeah, they just overreached with that.
For me, I didn't mark out. To me, Sting looked just like he looked like he had been doped up, like he brought some of Jeff Hardy's pills from TNA because his eyes were so freaking wide. Like he seemed stoned, just like colors. I don't know. You couldn't have even dyed your hair for your WWE debut. Really? I don't know. It seemed to me sloppy. This is 10 years ago. I'd have been excited.
Sure.
That's my complaint. It's too late.
Right.
He signed the Legend deal. I'm fine with that. Like he's going. It's rumored he's going to the Hall of Fame. I'm fine with that. But really, I mean, his TNA run was bad. Like especially near the end. Just I don't know. Maybe it's just because I watch TNA and have been watching his work. It just go there.
As far as his look, like not dyeing the hair, I mean, we saw Kevin Nash do that, and it was really awkward. We've seen Undertaker do that, and it's weird. Just considering, like we all like Deuce is saying in the live chat, we all know what these guys look like. We've seen him in TNA. We've seen pictures of him, in street clothes and whatnot. So just trying to hide that fact, I think, wasn't necessary. And just knowing Sting's convictions on certain aspects of the business, I think he probably would have been against it anyways. So, but yeah, overall, I didn't necessarily mark. I wasn't expecting it. It was a total surprise. I liked it for sure, but yeah, I didn't mark out. But it looks like a lot of people in the live chat did. A lot of people that I've that have been in communication with us over the last couple of days were totally into it. So yeah, there's a lot of excitement around the whole WWE universe about it. But we'll see what comes out of it. So real quick before we move on, Ridge Mac asked a question: will Sting wrestle or be GM? What do you guys predict? Real quick.
Wrestle. He's gonna wrestle.
I think GMing is far more likely.
If he was, then I hope he takes off the makeup because there's no reason to put the makeup on.
Yeah, the only scenario I see him wrestling in is WrestleMania, and there's a lot of talk going around about Sting versus Triple H now, but I don't really want to see that, and I don't want to see the other rumored match, which is Sting versus Taker. So,
right,
yeah.
That would have been good 8 to 10 years ago.
Yeah. Well, I think the rumor is just based on what we've seen thus far for Sting, which is him taking out Triple H. So, yeah. But all right. So real quick, before Survivor Series, there was a few comments made. We're gonna play Monday morning quarterback on them. But Benjamin Meganberg said, "Screwy finish is unacceptable at this point." Also, Craig Walsh on YouTube said, "One of the worst Survivor Series cards in a long time. Spoiler, Cena wins, LOL." Now, again, those two comments were made before Survivor Series. So, are you okay with what we got as far as the finish, the screwy finish that ended up happening? Do you think it's acceptable? And do you think this ended up being the worst Survivor Series cards in a long time?
I wouldn't have taken issue with a dusty finish. Uh, I was expecting the Authority to win by hook or by crook. How that would have come about, I have no idea. Whether disqualifications were made, or Orton changed his mind, or somebody comes back, or what have you. I was expecting something along those lines to happen. So I would have been okay with it. It's not like last year where Daniel Bryan was just getting screwed again and again and again and again and again. That hasn't happened with that hasn't happened this year. Not with those 5 guys. So I think it would have been acceptable.
I was kind of hoping when Sting came out, though. I mean, when it was Sting, it's like, oh great, Sting. If he would have come out with the old surfer gimmick paint,
Yeah.
see that, then I would have marked out. If he would have went to the Roots, but no, we just saw the badly dyed Roots.
Well, yeah. Unfortunately, I think we're at a point when the surfer gimmick wouldn't work because he's got to wear that T-shirt now.
I wonder if you wouldn't have gotten comparisons to Warrior from some people.
Yeah.
Hey, they did tag together. That's okay.
Yeah. That's a good point, too.
Hmm.
That's a good point, too.
I mean, if anything, you just have them talk at the beginning of WrestleMania with Hogan, and they can talk about the Silverdome.
All right. Yeah, for me, it on paper, there were some things to look forward to if things played out a little bit differently, such as the Bray Wyatt versus Dean Ambrose match. I think that match was cool. Yeah, sure. I don't think any of us were totally looking forward to the main event, but they did an exceptionally good job with it.
And they give them enough time. That was a nice thing. I mean, I don't think, with people hating on this card, I don't think it was that bad. I really don't. I just think that the time distribution was poor.
Yeah.
We didn't need Adam Rose and the Bunny when we could have actually had a decent Divas match.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I will say, I mean, there was a lot of filler. Like, we didn't even know who Fandango was going to face before Survivor Series.
Yeah, I got screwed on that one.
I got a text message from Kevin going, Hey, I just saw the Facebook page. I saw Garvin posted as a new improved Fandango. You mean they really dropped the gimmick? I'm like, and then he's like, oh, he fucking does, like, what is he doing now? The tango or the, I don't know.
It's like a salsa or something.
It was weird, whatever it was.
Oh, no, it's doing the salsa. Oh, what a big fucking gimmick change. We know it was a gimmick change. It said new and improved.
Yeah, Kevin.
It's over text. I'm like, get on the show, motherfucker.
Lou says 53-minute main event, right? I don't think it was that long, but it was like about 45 at least,
including intros.
Yeah. So, I don't really remember when I turned. Oh yeah, because I didn't turn the pay-per-view off because I was expecting the post show live with Vince McMahon that like never happened. Well, it might have happened, but it happened like
it was like 2 a.m.
Yeah, I never watched it. It was on way too late. So, anyways, pay-per-view picks this week. Nick and myself, we got 3 picks correct. Joe, you got 2 picks correct, which then takes our overall to something I'm not totally happy about. But before we read it, I forgot to update the records last pay-per-view, the Hell in Cell predictions. For some reason, they never added until this morning. So at Hell in a Cell, Nick got 7 correct, and Joe, you and I got 3 correct. So, which means Joe, you're at 40 picks for the year. I'm at 52, and Nick is well ahead with 57 correct picks.
That's how I do.
I'm going to need to go back and see what that's actually out of. That's a number we should have kept as well. I forgot, but
no, I'm fine with having a commanding lead and absolutely no qualifications on that.
I'm guessing. I'm guessing we're getting at least. I think it's at least 80 picks.
That sounds about right.
Seems reasonable.
All right. WWE TLC is the next pay-per-view that's going to happen. It takes place on Sunday, December 14th, and we'll be previewing it on FTW244 in just a couple weeks. The official card right now is Dean Ambrose versus Bray Wyatt in a TLC match. So I think that was announced at Survivor Series. So again, that was a big commercial for TLC. But, a free pay-per-view versus, a paid pay-per-view, I guess. Whatevs. All right, let's move on from WWE again. We're not going to talk about Raw this week. We're just going to jump into TNA, and then coming up real quick, what we're thankful for as wrestling fans in 2014. All right, so TNA. Last week on Impact, quite a few things happened. This was the final Impact on Spike, the final new original TNA program for 2014. Taryn Terrell defeated Gail Kim and Havoc to become the new Knockouts champion. We also got Chris Melendez defeating Kenny King via disqualification. Bram defeated Tommy Dreamer. Low Key is your new X Division champion after defeating Tigre Uno, Manic, and DJ Z. And MVP just went on a rampage. Attacked Kurt Angle. He attacked Chris Melendez. Really showed his angry side. So overall, what happened last week that you guys really liked?
I'm gonna go with the low key winning the X Division title. Definitely was the standout match. I really liked it. I think everybody got some good spots in, and it was one of those staple X Division matches. There were a lot of high flying, a lot of spots, and it was spot fest, but it was fun.
Yeah, I think I enjoyed the Knockouts match more, or at least the implications. Because with Taryn as champion, she pinned Gail Kim. Havoc has legitimate grounds to challenge Taryn, and so we can have Taryn become the Giant Killer. And then Gail will come back. I imagine she'll come back, and then we could finally have that real third match, the rubber match that we've been waiting for so long. And I really think that will be something to look forward to when they come back on Destination America.
Yeah, and we'll get into the Destination America deal in a few minutes. But yeah, Taryn Terrell winning the Knockouts championship, it's so, I don't know, it's so weird. Like I know I do it. I've been called a TNA apologist before, or TN apologist before, but I always kind of shrug it off. But I do look at TNA a lot differently than I look at WWE. Like Taryn Terrell, I have no problem saying that Taryn Terrell deserved to get that opportunity. That Taryn Terrell has done such a good job in the matches that she had. I think she surprised all of us with her ability. That I love the fact that she's champion, and yeah, I don't know. It was a good match too.
It was a good match, and it let Havoc stay strong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Havoc stayed on the outside a little bit too long there, but yeah, overall, just the fact that Taryn Terrell is your champion, that gives me hope for the Knockouts division. I know I've been pretty sour on the division as a whole since Havoc. Well, even before Havoc joined, we were really hoping for big things from Havoc, and we really haven't gotten it yet, just because there's no real competition. Gail Kim has been the sole competitor there. So you put on a quality match like they did a couple weeks ago, Taryn Terrell versus Madison Rayne, which is my match of the night that week. To then bounce back from that to Taryn Terrell in another solid quality match to win a Knockouts championship. I mean, that really shows me that TNA is devoting energy to that division.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
For me though, outside of that, I think my favorite part of Impact this week was just MVP just going off the rail and just destroying anyone who went in his way, taking out Chris Melendez the way he did, and going after Angle. I like this side of MVP. This is a good way.
You were gonna call him MP3, weren't you?
I was gonna call him MP3. This is a good way to push towards the new TV deal, the new season basically of TNA. I think the way they're pushing MVP is awesome right now.
Yeah, it is entertaining. MVP. He's a guy who's pretty versatile in what he can do, and the fact they're taking advantage of that and watching him be, show his brutal side, just fantastic.
Right.
Yeah, and a side angle for that is moving forward. It's going to be Kenny King versus Anderson now,
Right.
and I'm kind of looking forward to that. I think Chris Melendez put on some decent work. His last match was pretty good. He finally started using the prosthetic leg, and I don't know if not using it was holding him back before, but for some reason it just seemed to click more this time around. But seeing Kenny King and Anderson go at it should be entertaining for a little while.
Yeah, I'm curious where Chris Melendez ends up in that. It seems like they have not necessarily moved away from him with how this started to go, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think he might come back meaner. He hasn't really shown all that much of a character thus far. He's had Anderson do the talking for him.
Right.
But now that MVP's basically wrecked him and he's going to be sidelined for a little while, I have to imagine. Well, everybody's going to be sidelined for now, but in kayfabe, I think he's going to be sidelined for a while.
Sure.
I think he's going to come back hungrier and meaner.
Which is a good thing, because right now it's hard to get into Chris Melendez.
Yeah.
That's what she said. All right. So, okay, overall, we've witnessed the final impact of 2014, as well as the final new episode of TNA on Spike TV. So, they're going to go at least 6 weeks without a new episode. It's more than likely, just because they announced today that they're going to be taping the first episodes for Destination America. They're going to be taping that on January 7th, 8th, and 9th. So realistically, unless they do a live show there, they're probably looking at 8 weeks before their official debut on Destination America. So obviously that sucks, but there's a lot to be excited about, because this is what we wanted, right? We wanted them off of Spike. We wanted them to go with a new group. So, despite this break, we should still be excited, right?
God, yes.
Yeah. Nick says, God, yes. I say sort of. Nick, what? Go ahead.
I've wanted them gone from Spike for forever. Spike did nothing to help Impact grow. They did nothing to help TNA as a company. They pimped TNA out to sell their other products, and then they wonder why TNA is no longer the number one rated show on their network. Is because they don't advertise TNA. They only use TNA to advertise other shit. It was just an abusive relationship, and I'm glad TNA is finally getting out of it.
Yeah, I mean, on those points, yes, I agree with you. I think for me, the problem is like, I won't have Impact anymore, because I'm not willing to pay the price I have to get Destination America in my cable package, because it's an upper tier channel.
Sure.
To me, that's a huge drawback. And I use I've got Uverse, so that's a nationwide service. I mean, granted, there are some areas that don't get it because they haven't run the fiber or whatever to it yet. But, I mean, it's across the country. And to put it, if that's a channel in upper tier package, that's cutting off a lot of people. That's my complaint. It's like, yeah, we've got a channel that's going to really help us out, a network that's really going to help us out, and we're going to be like the big dog. But you're going from a lake to a small pond.
See, I see the argument there, but then I think about Spike drew 90 million plus people. It's available in 90 million plus households. Destination America, from what I can recall, is about half that, but then Impact averaged a little over 1 million viewers a week. So, and that didn't change from night to night. And from what I can recall, that didn't really change when they went from Fox. It was Fox Sports, I think, from Fox Sports to Spike. So I don't really see that being a barrier to Impact success. In fact, I would think that Discovery would want to promote this as a big move because I believe one of Eric Young's shows is on that network as well.
Correct.
If it's not that network, it's definitely in that family.
Oh no, I'm sorry. It's Animal Planet.
Animal Planet, yeah, Discovery owns them too. So
yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's my only complaint is that they're, it's just like unless they do some heavy advertising for this starting soon, they're not going to have the viewers because I've never heard of Destination America until now, and I watch a lot of TV. I'd like to think. I just have a feeling that it's going to be an awkward channel. It's like SmackDown on Sci-Fi, really, where the channel stereotype doesn't fit. Like Impact wouldn't necessarily fit the stereotype or the seemingly intended target. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm with you. Before they announced this move, I didn't know Destination America was a channel, which really bumps me out because apparently they have some awesome series on behind the scenes at Disney theme parks, and I really want to get into that. But yeah, I think what you just said, that is a barrier for some people. On the other hand, even if you don't get Destination America, there's been some speculation that since Discovery does have a lot of content on Hulu, that maybe they could work out a deal with TNA to put Impact on Hulu.
Right. Yeah, that's something I've heard too.
I'd get a Hulu account for that. I'd buy that for $1.
I would consider getting Hulu if Impact was on it. Yeah, for sure. So just to touch on what you guys were talking about, overall in the live chat talking about this as well, there is this stigma that since they are going to a smaller channel that they will lose the audience. But like you pointed out, Nick, when they went from Fox to Spike, they didn't really lose their audience, even though it was a smaller channel. It's probably not going to happen here. The TNA fans that are tuning in every week are going to find a way to obtain it. So hopefully that is, being a paid cable subscriber. But who knows? Maybe this Hulu deal does take off, and I think that would be fantastic. That would really help. But overall, I'm not necessarily worried about that. I'm not worried about really anything at this point. I think this is a fantastic move. Sure, we would have loved if they went on to one of WGN's stations. I think that would have been fantastic for them because it would have opened them up to a much bigger audience. But something that's been talked about recently on Dave Gilbert and Claudia, our friends over at the Talk TNA podcast, they were talking about the idea that TNA needs to move back to smaller, smaller venues, smaller stations, just to basically, be that big fish in a smaller pond versus being a small fish on a big pond, So them going to New York City and selling out the Manhattan Center for 3 days in a row, that showed exactly where they needed to be and what type of audience they needed to be in front of, and the size of the venue. The same thing can be said about this, and who knows? We're speculating here, but this could be an excellent move, especially if they do go in as one of the top shows for this new station. They could get pretty much all of the promotion that you've ever wanted Spike to do for them. These guys can do it. So I'm totally looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a breath of fresh air, and it really will put our thoughts to the test as far as Spike TV just wasn't doing enough, and Spike TV is one of the main reasons why TNA hasn't been able to move forward and do good things. I think this will be a major test in this because you'll have pretty much exclusive promotions for TNA here. So All right, 2014. We're going to be talking about our full year in review. First show back in 2015. But just right now, off the cuff, do you look at 2014 for TNA as being a successful year?
Yeah, I think they were able to stay the course pretty well. After the Aces and Eights storyline, we kind of went, where are they going to go from here? Because that took so much time. Can they do anything that's not going to be a long-term thing? Can they do it? Like what are they going to do with all these pieces that have been disheveled? And I think they did really well, and I think they've built up things that were definitely interesting, like the James Storm faction, MVP's faction, and the rise of Samoa Joe again to be injured and vacate the title. All the fucking time. But I think they've done pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been a lot more success to be had than failure this year. They opened up the year having the first British World Heavyweight Champion in over a century. They went in to the New York tapings, which were a huge success. They had the hashtag It Happened moment. That was the talk of basically every wrestling fan that was even remotely plugged into the idea that TNA existed. They had MVP debut. They had the Wolves come in and reinvigorate the tag division. You've got James Storm and his Revolution faction. TNA formed partnerships with international companies, with AAA, with Wrestle One. They went to Tokyo for Bound for Glory, and say what you will about how well Bound for Glory did as far as sales goes, but that was an excellent show, and I think it definitely raised TNA's visibility. So TNA has only grown this year, despite the setbacks with the roster, with the TV deals going south. They reinvented their roster. They made a bunch of new signings. They signed on Bram. They signed on their first Indian wrestler, Mahabali Shera. They've got international TV deals out the wazoo. So yeah, it's absolutely been a successful year for TNA, regardless of bad press.
Yeah, for me, I'm with you guys. I feel like it was a successful year. There were some setbacks. Obviously, economy played a role in that. We lost a few big names, but the way they bounced back and the way that really the guys that they kept around delivered, like Bully Ray, like Bobby Roode, like EY. You had guys step up, bringing back the six-sided ring. There was a lot of people that were against that, but that proved to be really exciting and really awesome. And then you also had just the shows in New York City. I am so thankful. I feel blessed for being able to experience one of those TNA in New York City shows. It's just because it was such an awesome atmosphere, and just overall the crowd was into it. It was a great show, and the way TNA ended 2014, I thought was fantastic. These last 3 months have been great. So yeah, I look at this as being a successful year for TNA. It might not look good in the ratings. It might not look good on on your money sheets, but overall, like, TNA is telling good stories. They are doing so well in the ring that it's hard to look at that at TNA in general as anything but a success this year for us fans, for sure. Okay, well, speaking of being thankful and feeling blessed as a wrestling fan, I think it's time we talk about what we are thankful for as wrestling fans in 2014. I posted the link in the live chat as well as on the Facebook group and Google Plus. So if you guys have seen the link, go ahead and click it. You might need to sign into Google to join, but we'll be bringing you in pretty much single file, one at a time, as we talk about what we are most thankful for. Historically, Thanksgiving. Here in the U.S. and Canada, Thanksgiving is a day of giving thanks for blessing of the harvest and preceding year, but we're doing here at Fans Talk Wrestling, giving thanks for the blessing that is professional wrestling. We've got a list of things that you guys sent us over Twitter and Facebook and whatnot. So we're going to read down this list and kind of react and just talk about the positive things that happened while we wait for you guys to join the hangout. First of all, Martin Hartlebury on Facebook said, after watching the first 3 episodes, he is thankful for Lucha Underground. Yeah, I'm totally in agreement with this. I've made it through 2 episodes. There's 4 episodes out right now, 5 episodes starting next week, and we're totally in agreement with this. Nick, you can talk about this as well. But next week, because of how good Lucha Underground has been on its debut, next week, 243, FTW243 is going to be our Lucha Underground special, where we're just going to recap and react to the first 5 weeks of Lucha Underground. It's going to be really, really cool. So, but yeah, this is good. This is a good company to pretty much come out of nowhere. There really was no hype like Global Force Wrestling. There was just straight up like, we're gonna do a wrestling show. It's gonna have some AAA guys, and then here it is, and it was just fantastic.
Yeah, I can't wait to get caught up on Lucha Underground. Turns out the only version I get is the one with the Spanish commentary, but I'm gonna get caught up on the English versions, so I'm definitely looking forward to that.
This lets you focus more on the matches.
That is true. I at least want to hear what the English commentary sounds like before I just dismiss it entirely.
It's odd. If you're getting the Spanish commentary, is everything else in Spanish?
Like the programming is not the show itself.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, because for those that don't know, Lucha Underground airs on El Rey, which has the English version, and it also airs on Unimas. Lou, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Please don't hurt me if I didn't.
Yeah.
Which has the Spanish commentary. So I only get Unimas.
Gotcha. Dan Thompson on Google Plus, kind of along those same lines. He said, "I'm thankful that WWE isn't the only promotion as we as fans get to watch." So I think a lot of people are thinking along the same lines. WWE hasn't really been doing too well, and overall people are starting to switch the channel, starting to look for other sources of good wrestling, and Lucha Underground, TNA, and even NXT are filling those voids very well, mind you. Robert Keimarkel said Lucha Underground. Plus, he got to see a TNA house show in February, New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's also thankful for AJ Styles winning the IWGP Heavyweight Championship and seeing ROH on TV and pay-per-view for the first time. And Robert has been raving about ROH as well as, other independent promotions like New Japan Pro Wrestling. But just the way he talks about ROH and glows about it pretty much every live chat we have every week, it really makes me feel like I need to give ROH another chance.
Yeah, I haven't been watching regularly, but it's definitely better than it used to be, say, a year or 2 ago.
I can't comment on ROH. I've never gotten.
Yeah, I caught the first 2 episodes, and to be fair, it is still not available in my area. I'm in Cleveland, which should be a nice sized market for wrestling, but for some reason we still do not get ROH. So I was depending on the internet to obtain it, but overall, yeah, I don't know, it was okay.
It seems that ROH is targeting places that aren't of substantial size, or maybe that's Sinclair's problem. But
Sinclair's problem, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think they only air on stations that they own. So And it's weird because they air in like the rest of North Carolina, but in the Charlotte area they don't, which is weird because Charlotte's the biggest market in North Carolina. So
Who's
that's
ROH's
frustrating.
biggest town? Boise.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the idea of ROH. Overall, I like the theme and the concept of their shows, but it was just hard to get into because you know, for me, I went in with expectations that it would be at least at the level production wise as TNA, and maybe it has improved, but those first two
Oh
shows
no,
were rough. Those first
it's
two shows were rough, and there was no like real introduction. Like it was just odd. Like the whole thing, I felt like was really handled poorly. First, you know, this is like ROH first on TV, and they don't really introduce any of the stories or any of the feuds or really any of the guys. You don't know who any of these guys are outside of Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas. And then uh, the way that they were handling the internet side of things was rough as well because it's like they didn't want people to get it on the internet until it was like a week or two after it aired on TV. So that was just I don't know. I just thought it was just odd. So, but overall, I am hearing you, Robert. We all are hearing you rave about ROH. So I definitely want to add that back into into the conversation and check it out again. So moving on from that, Adrian Masters going to his first ROH show. So yeah, I think a lot of people have been trying to give ROH a chance. Going to live shows is always fun as well. So that's pretty cool. Brandon Gee says NXT have wasted too many hours watching wrestling shows that were a slog to get through, whereas I love the format and simple, coherent storytelling of NXT. Nick, you agree with this statement, correct?
100%.
Yeah.
It's refreshing to see something short, concise, to the point, and thoroughly enjoyable to watch. I don't think that I don't think that the success is due to the fact that it is 1 hour. It's certainly nice to have something a little more digestible like that, but I think NXT could get away with 2 hours, but they definitely have the talent and the storytelling needed to go that way.
Yeah, for me, NXT has just been fantastic. I don't think there's been an NXT show that I haven't liked. There's been some characters that I really haven't been into. Mojo Rawley, um, Becky Lynch when she first arrived and she was like this Irish jig dancing girl. I don't know. It was just weird, but it's nice to see that they're willing to throw these guys out there and let them do whatever they need to do to get over. It seems like everyone has like an equal opportunity, and that's nice to see. Obviously, you've got some spotlight guys that you put in the main event. You've got some veterans coming down from the main roster, but overall, like the commentary team, we all rave about it. It's exactly the style of commentary that we want to see on the main roster. You also have just quality wrestling. It's very surprising that for a development company, you've got wrestlers that are so good. Like you would expect lots of like sloppy matches, very indie style wrestling, but this is NXT is good stuff.
Yeah, I like the fact that it is definitely the very crop of developmentalists, like the final step before you become quote unquote big time. Even though I think a lot of the current NXT talent is much more big time than a lot of current main roster talent.
All right, well, we've got our first guest on the show. We're gonna bring him in right now. Oh nope, dropped him. All right, never mind. You tried. You tried. All right,
Well,
come back. We'll bring you back in. Anyways, Joe, what are you thankful for this year?
Most of my stuff comes from the WWE side, but like Eric Young's reign. That's one guy that I just didn't think was going to do well in the spot, and I think he actually did a great job. being that fighting champion. I was very impressed with his work. He's been at the company a long time, so in a way, it's like he's almost deserves it. No one actually deserves. No matter how long you're there, you don't actually deserve a run. That being said, I think that Eric Young took the ball and he ran with it as best he could, and I think it was entertaining television. Something other things in wrestling. Clash Wrestling, from what I was able to catch at the beginning of the year, I haven't been to a show since because it's been poor weekends or other stuff going on. But I was very entertained with Clash Wrestling. Anytime
Clash is good. I enjoyed every show I went to Clash with you. That was good stuff.
I do get bummed out that we still haven't been able to get Justin Main on.
Correct.
Because he wants to be on, but yeah, we'll have to get to more shows. I missed the last one this past weekend, which had Allison Kay at it. So
nice. Yeah. It was Judas was telling us about that.
Yeah.
That sounded fun. Yeah, I mean, like Joe and I went to a Clash show. We got to see well, first of all, like the major champion for a long time was Petey Williams. So you had that. Shoot, what was the Detroit guy from TNA?
Alex Shelley?
Alex Shelley, yes. Alex Shelley. Alex Shelley versus Petey Williams. We got to see part of that match.
We got to see Honky Tonk Man.
Honky Tonk Man. Billy Gunn before he returned back to WWE.
Yep.
So
yeah, I mean they bring in a lot of good talent.
So. Yeah, support your indies. Definitely go to an indie show if you have an opportunity. There's probably a lot of good talent there.
Or at least entertaining talent.
Yeah.
Even if they're extremely bad, it would still be entertained by something.
I still say that Caveman was one of my favorite wrestlers at Clash.
Oh, dude, that guy's great. There are so many
Caveman sounds like a real winner.
He had the most epic beard. Probably the fattest short guy I've ever seen.
Am I still continuing with the with what I'm thankful for?
Yeah, let's hold on. Let's jump to you, Nick. What are you thankful for this year as a wrestling fan?
I think I got to start off with Magnus holding the world title. I think he did maybe not a lot, but he definitely did something worthwhile with that belt. Aside from the obvious accomplishment that was mentioned earlier, it definitely showed a lot of confidence on TNA's part to put the belt on somebody as young as Magnus. I think that was the most prominent example of TNA doing their damnedest to build up a new guy, or if not a new guy, then at least a young guy, and make him into a star. And for the most part, I think Magnus carried it fairly well. So I'm very glad that TNA gave him the chance to do that.
Yeah, Magnus as champion really excited me. Just the idea of Magnus being champion. And while that didn't necessarily, I think technically, I think he won last year, but he held the title for a majority of the time in 2014. Yeah, that was a big risk. He's a young guy, but I think it paid off just to show what Magnus can do. Not necessarily booked the best, but overall, Magnus is a future guy. He's a guy that you could probably put the company on and be just fine. So, yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree with that. What else? What else are you thankful for?
Next, I think I just got to reiterate Lucha Underground becoming a hit with wrestling fans. For something kind of out of the blue as Lucha Underground was, sure, you had the rumblings that AAA wanted to have a U.S. promotion, but I don't think anybody really expected it to take off the way it did. Especially here in the States with a Mexican-based promotion. It's just something very different from what you get here in the States. And it provides a viable alternative that a lot of people have access to. And that really excites me. It says a lot of good things about the possibility of other promotions doing the same. There's rumblings about, well, not even rumblings now, it's official. New Japan has a US TV deal coming soon.
Right.
So that's exciting. I'm just very glad that this is finally taking place.
Yeah, I mean, there's one company that um, bothers me at this point, and that is Global Force. There was so much hype with what they were doing, and they really haven't provided anything substantial yet, other than they are doing the January pay per view, which should be pretty cool, especially because Jim Ross is involved. But still, it's not what we expected. It's not what we wanted. But one thing that Jarrett said that seems to be ringing true right now, and that is there is a new boom of wrestling coming, and there's going to be a high demand for that kind of content, and for New Japan Pro Wrestling and Lucha Underground to really start that. Here in the U.S. start with NGPW starting in January, I think. Lucha Underground right now. I mean, it does show that there are people still wanting to produce good wrestling content for a U.S. audience. It's not just WWE. It's not just TNA, but you're gonna have alternatives there on TV, which is awesome. That is awesome. So yeah, I'm totally into that. All right, real quick before we jump back to your guys' feedback that you sent us about what you're thankful for. For me, I'm going to start off with with just echoing that. Lucha Underground. I'm very pleased with Lucha Underground, how it came about. There was no hype. It's just great programming. It's just a good quality wrestling show, and it's different. It's not filmed like a WWE show or a TNA show. It's filmed almost like that Spanish soap opera style, which is kind of cheeky. I'm sorry, it's kind of cheeky. It's kind of funny and cheesy, but it's good. It's really different, but the wrestling is still great. So yeah, I'm totally into the idea of Lucha Underground. Hopefully, they continue to produce and do good stuff. The other thing I want to throw out there is TNA not giving up. It would have been easy for them to just lay down and accept defeat, especially with all the negativity that they've gotten year after year. This year in particular, it seems like the internet was just overly hostile with TNA. Everything that they did, there was always some nitpicky attack that you could throw at TNA, and obviously they did have to release a few people, and they did. It did seem like they were losing money hand over fist at times, but overall, like, they didn't give up. They made moves to be successful and to continue to live and do well, and I think they did. And I think they consistently provide good TV, especially over the last couple of months. And they're killing it wrestling matches. Like their wrestling matches are bar none above everything that we've seen at WWE on a consistent basis. There's been some matches in WWE, but overall TNA is just doing excellent job. So yeah, TNA for not giving up when it would have been so easy for them to do so. All right, moving on from that, Benjamin said, getting to see AJ Styles and Dreamwave wrestling in February. It was phenomenal. And yeah, there was a lot of good talk about AJ Styles, like what he was doing on the indie scene. While it was unfortunate that he couldn't really come to an agreement with TNA, I think he's really helped spark interest in the alternatives, sparking interest in New Japan and Dreamwave and other indie promotions. That he kind of and even before he left TNA, he was traveling with the title. I thought that was really awesome. So yeah, this whole boom, especially with what Jeff Jarrett was saying, I think AJ Styles was a huge catalyst for that.
Yeah, AJ was. He didn't necessarily reinvent himself when he got the Indies, but he completed that reinvention process he started while he was still with TNA. It's been very refreshing to see him just succeed in leaps and bounds, especially heading up the Bullet Club when Prince Devin left. that was a big get for New Japan and a big deal for AJ. I think it's been very exciting seeing him in action.
Steven said Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30 is thankful for that whole story and how it ended. Man, that's probably the best thing that happened in WWE this year. Out of all the stories that they've told, just having Daniel Bryan overcome the odds, be put in that huge spotlight, and just the end of WrestleMania 30 with the confetti and the entire arena behind Daniel Bryan. That was an awesome moment for wrestling.
Completely agree.
I know this is jumping ahead to our season or our year in review, but do you think that was the best moment in wrestling this year?
In wrestling as a whole, it's definitely one of the top contenders. Definitely. I don't know if I would call it the best moment. That's definitely a big question. I have to puzzle that over some more.
Again, we'll talk about it in the year in review. But Joe, real quick, do you think it was the best moment?
I don't know.
We'll think about it then.
Yeah, let's.
We're going to need every little bit of that time for.
Yeah, it's close.
Think
for
about
me.
this.
Just because I can't really think off the top of my head what else overshadowed that, if anything. Well, anyways, all right. Again, we've posted that hangout link. Feel like we've done this game before. Post a hangout link.
Yeah,
Anyways,
it's almost like it's wrestling with beer.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's continue on. Jason Wegener said what he's thankful for in 2014 as a wrestling fan. Del Rio is gone. Jack Ryder isn't on TV enough.
Who?
Did I say Jack Ryder?
Yes, you did.
I think you did.
Rusev is the U.S. champ. Oh wait, the Authority is gone. That's what I'm thankful for. So that's what he's thankful for.
Yeah.
Can't argue with that.
It's not quite true. Authority is still there, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where that goes. Live chat is criticizing my Jack Ryder.
Jack Swagger is looking excellent, though.
Yeah, he is. Again, poor storytelling by WWE that Jack Swagger was still available for Survivor Series, but not available enough for the Survivor Series team.
Yeah, that was weird.
Oh man. Anyways, Kevin Crittenden said probably this year's WrestleMania weekend, including the Hall of Fame and the night after. So much happened. So many good vibes out of WrestleMania 30.
Yeah. See, you mentioned the Hall of Fame thing. I actually was watching that or listening to that last night, and I want to tell you about my mama. My mama is a wonderful woman, and I love her. She is the mama. Respect your mama and read your Bible. I am Mr. T. Leave it without too long, and I spent 25 minutes talking about my mama with no reason for talking about my mama because I'm being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame.
For my mama.
Yeah.
I love my mama. The best part about that of Mr. T, though, is I love my mama on days other than Mother's Day. Like President's Day. What? Abba Day. What? 4th of July. What? Like he had no idea. And then just the camera pans and just focuses on Stone Cold, who's ready to cry.
Yeah, I don't know if I would put the Hall of Fame ceremony up there as far as things I'm thankful for.
I mean, in hindsight, it was pretty damn funny. Is like when
that speech for sure. Yeah.
Carlito was great.
Carlito was great. There were good moments for sure.
Absolutely no shame on Carlito's part.
Because really, what the fuck else was he gonna do?
Yeah.
Wide open for him. But yeah, outside of that, I mean, you can. I think that could be a decent nod. That weekend.
Yeah, I'm thankful that some of those guys got the respect they deserved. Being thankful for the event itself, though, I have issues with the way WWE does Hall of Fame ceremonies,
Correct.
basically opening it to the public. But yeah, just the fact that guys like Warrior and Scott Hall got the nod. I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, and one thing that I found interesting is back WrestleMania 23, I had friends who went to the Hall of Fame induction here in Detroit, and the thing there was they actually told people if you came in jeans and a T-shirt, you weren't in. They would not allow you in, even if you had a paid ticket,
That's awesome.
because they were actually trying to keep the Hall of Fame thing classy, which I think they should have. But when they expanded
Yeah.
out to be that freaking big, like they did this past year, you can't do it. And then you get the disrespect of, the people chanting and booing and
Yeah, that's what I like about the way TNA does their Hall of Fames. Yeah, it's low key, but then again, it's industry professionals only, and it's just colleagues. So I think that's a much better way to handle that.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I liked overall I liked bits and pieces of the Hall of Fame. And we didn't even throw out the idea that, also Jake Roberts was in there too. So that was pretty cool. But all right, well, let's go ahead and bring in someone. And I'm gonna try to do this. Deuce. Deuce, are you there? You might have to unmute.
Okay, it's making me do it.
Hey, there we go. Deuce Loosely on the Thanksgiving special. Dude, what are you thankful for?
Okay, I'm gonna go a little bit deeper with this thing about the this boom of wrestling that has been called, and I want to call. I look at it more as an explosion underneath WWE right now because it's more than just. I don't know what exactly it was. Maybe it was the crappy programming, or maybe it was the network. But now that we have Global Force, we have New Japan, we have AAA, we have all these other worldwide promotions. It's starting, House of Hardcore, Ring of Honor. It's starting to feel like global territories, and I can see in the near to intermediate future the trading between all these global territories of talents. I mean, we have this, as much of a work as it is, the British boot camp, that TNA has, and I just see a lot of stuff going on underneath WWE, and it's all bubbling under there, and I'm pretty sure they're not even paying attention. They're not feeling the heat, even though they should, because from what I've seen, more cuts are coming, more budget cuts are coming for WWE, and I'm just glad that there are so many alternatives, that there's so many options now, and I think it's just going to get bigger, and it all seemed to happen at once, and I'm really glad to see this whole thing happen.
Well, do you think this is like basically the restart of where wrestling was in the 60s and 70s, where you had all these regional territories? Do you think we're going back to the NWA style of wrestling?
It's starting to look that way. I mean, what happened with, AJ's gone to New Japan, and there's talk of, there's been speculation anyway of Michael Elgin and, signing to TNA, and Alberto Del Rio and Ricardo Rodriguez were just recently on House of Hardcore, and that started speculation that there was a possibility they might sign to TNA.
Right.
So, and then you have John Morrison, as you know, aka Johnny Mundo, in Lucha Underground. Josh Matthews, he's now in TNA. We still don't know in what capacity, but there's a lot of movement going on, and I really think that the trading back and forth is going to be a thing again.
Yeah, we did see that there was, I don't know, like exclusive is good because you ensure that talent is there. But as far as from a fan's perspective, I can't see any negative part of this as far as these non-exclusive rights to talent going from one organization to other, because it's reaching so many different fan bases. I guess the only thing that could be seen as a con with that idea is maybe if you have, say, Del Rio working for TNA and working for Lucha Libre or Lucha Underground, you can't tie in those stories together. And if you're watching both, there's a lot of inconsistencies there. Or he could work with Lucha Underground for 6 weeks and then TNA for 6 weeks, and you don't really get a good overall vibe for what Del Rio can do on that one program if that's all you watch.
Well, the cool thing about that, and the thing that I see possibly happening, if all of this trading starts going on again, is that, there's been a lot. I see a lot of people talking about being dissatisfied with their experience in WWE. I mean, even NXT is kind of, overshadowed WWE in terms of quality and in terms of fan appreciation and satisfaction. And all these new, I'm just going to call them global territories, with all of these options, it gives those people who don't really see themselves in WWE with the way they work things, they have all these other places they could go. And if they're not happy in this place, they could go over here. If they don't fit right there, they can go somewhere else until they land somewhere where they actually feel like they can make it home.
Sure.
So I don't see anything bad about this explosion. It's how I see it. It's like an underground nuclear explosion underneath WWE, and eventually they're going to get caught up in a struggle to either keep or gain new talent.
Yeah, it's definitely a good sign of things to come if we can keep this momentum, which it looks like the U.S. as far as the broadcasters are starting to take that gamble with all of these new networks hopping on the wrestling bandwagon again. We can definitely see some good things. So, thanks for that, Deuce.
No problem.
All right, cool. Well, we are going to allow anyone else to come on. Again, you guys have a link to the Hangout. It's obviously not that hard. Deuce just joined, and that was cool. But let's move on from that. Tom Long said Sting. He is thankful for Sting in WWE. So what do you think about? Well, I guess we already talked about Sting in a lot, but obviously a lot of people are happy with Sting. I know majority of WWE fans don't watch TNA, so they weren't aware of Sting being active for the last 13 years. But yeah, a lot of people are very happy with Sting. BlueCactuar says Dean fucking Ambrose, and man,
I think you got to drop your voice like a couple octaves to do that right.
Dean fucking Ambrose. That's as deep as I can go.
Dean fucking Ambrose.
Yeah, dude, breakout star of the year, I think.
I'd give all the guys in the Shield almost that run. I mean, looking at the three of them, who did we really expect to be the only one to make it out? We were thinking it's going to be Reigns. Because We didn't see a whole lot coming out of Ambrose after, near the end of the Shield.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's developed his own character and is doing well. Rollins is developed and doing well. Reigns will be once he comes back. He was on a good run and just happened to have a bad injury.
Yeah.
I mean, all three of those guys are shining like fucking Aurora Borealis up in this bitch.
Yeah, it's weird, just looking back to the discussions that we had with the Shield, if they eventually broke them up, like who would advance. I don't know if you guys remember, I did a 1 week comic on fanstalkwrestling.com. It only appeared 1 week, but that was the one that I drew, was the idea of like Dean Ambrose is the guy that you really want to be given the ball and you really want to see succeed, but probably wouldn't. Reigns is the guy that WWE is going to push down our throats, and Rollins is probably a mid-card guy, and we totally wrong, I think. And that might also be circumstantial, with Reigns getting hurt, but Rollins is basically your main event guy. Dean Ambrose can be your main event guy, just the way he's over right now and the spotlight that TNA is giving him. And obviously Reigns, is the third tier, I think, out of that group.
It will be interesting to see where they go with Rollins now that the Authority has been removed from power, because Rollins no longer has those resources at his disposal.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, he's still Mr. Money in the Bank, but historically, what does that really mean? If you're not Cena, not much.
Totally.
Well, if you're Mr. Money in the Bank and you're John Cena, you lose.
That is true.
He was the first person to lose Money in the Bank.
And he did defeat Sandow, so there's that too.
Yeah, and you can also, and remember, if you're trying to fight for the grudge match to get it at Seth Rollins, it's okay to lose because you're just going to get a title shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking A.
All right. Dave Gilbert said, Shark Boy. Spud was also consistent, as was EC3. He loves Bram. Thankful that TNA didn't die. I'm totally with that. That's echoing a lot of things that we've said already. But yeah, a lot of good names there.
I would argue that Spud and EC3 have been breakout stars of the year in wrestling.
Character-wise, I think Spud has finally crossed that mark. He was on the verge, on the edge, but over the last 3-4 months, he's really pushed it hard, and it's been all good. Joe, what else are you thankful for?
Things I'm thankful for. I was actually going to say the push of the Shield individually, so that we've just covered that one. I'm going to have to say, until his injury, the rise of Bad News Barrett. Barrett created a character that initially I thought, this is going to be really stupid. And it grew on me and it turned into something epic, much like a lot of the weird gimmicks that the WWE's done. We talked about that earlier. So we've come full circle on the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bray Barrett, Bad News Barrett. It's just it became a character that we love the in-ring work. We love what he was doing. He really developed a personality, and that racing platform. Man, did that just grind into people and piss them off. That was wonderful.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Let's bring in BlueCactuar, Mr. Matt. You've got some things to be thankful for as a wrestling fan. What is it? What are you thankful for?
Hello.
Hello, Blue.
Hey, Blue.
Hey, Blue.
Really, I just want to expand on the one I already told you. As I said in the Facebook post, Dean Ambrose has really stood out in the past year. But in general, it's just the younger up-and-coming talent that at the start of the year in the WWE, the main event was Randy Orton and John Cena for the title again. No one really cared. And there's been periods like that all the time. while I'm bored of that, there's always something going on in the undercard that hooks me in. Whether it's Dean Ambrose or Bray Wyatt, who's another one who's absolutely killed every time someone gives him a mic. Just the Shield in general, from what they did before, from what they've done since the breakup. Barrett, as you said, again, another one. And it goes right down to the next level of up-and-comings. Like NXT has been my must-watch show for the past 2 years now, I think. Ever since they changed the format, it's just got better and better. And it just gives me confidence for the future. There's so much talent there waiting to be used, and if they just bite the bullet, go with it, use these guys as we know they can be used, there's success there, and the change that they need.
Yeah, totally. I'm totally with you. And it almost makes me aggravated, just like knowing how much great talent, especially in NXT. As we talked about before, just the talent you have there, the talent you have on the mid card, on the main roster. There's so many guys that, if given the ball, could probably do amazing things. It's hard to be patient with that. So.
Yeah, Cesaro's another one that's never really got the opportunity. Then everyone wants him. And then guys like Sandow, who he's been given a small opportunity. He's on TV every week. That's more than you can say for a lot of guys. And every time he's making it count. It's what JR always says, maximize your minutes. He's doing that, even in a weird gimmick. And then the New Day guys as well. Hopefully that stable's going to be good, because they're 3 guys that I want to see on TV more often.
For sure.
And there's just all these guys that maybe don't get the spotlight they deserve, but there's always the potential there. And I'm just hopeful that one day, when they have to move on from Orton and Cena and the usual ones that they always go with, things are going to get more exciting.
Yeah, and just to tie this in, like with what Deuce was saying, there's this whole, explosion of new companies coming out and signing new US TV deals. So obviously that doesn't mean anything to you, Blue, but for us that's a big deal. And it could propel WWE to make those hard decisions to move on from the daily quota that they have with Orton and Cena, and stop relying on guys like Rock and Lesnar to bring in the big ratings, and just push the guys that they have and the talent that they have to take them and compete with the alternative that is coming.
Yeah, I fully agree. And we don't have a problem with TNA TV channels here. They've got one set up for ages. We're just waiting for WWE Network.
All right, well, thanks, Blue.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, man.
Right. So we've got just a little bit more to go over, but before we do that, because I think we've got maybe 1 or 2 comments from you guys. What you said in response to our asking what you're thankful for on Facebook and Twitter and Google Plus. So before we read the rest of that, Nick, I'm sure you've got a couple more. What are you thankful for?
Yeah, the next thing I'm thankful for is the success and rising popularity of a guy named Cedric Alexander. No relation to me. For one thing, I am the whitest of white boys, and he's black, so there's that. But if I recall correctly, he is from North Carolina, so that's also in his favor. He's been doing exceptionally well of late. In regional promotions, like there's a local promotion called PWX that runs shows here in North Carolina, and he's been doing exceptionally well there. Over in ROH, he's had a pretty decent run. He's been featured in a fairly prominent storyline with The Decade. That's Jimmy Jacobs, BJ Whitmer, and Roderick Strong, all guys that have been there for 10 plus years. And Cedric Alexander has come out of that looking fairly strong. And I would not be entirely surprised if he was challenging for the world title within the next year or so. He's been looking that good. So I'm very thankful that even if a guy like him is not getting the attention from the WWE or TNA, that at least he's getting some kind of recognition for all the hard work he's been putting in.
Fair enough. I still think you guys are related, though, Nick. Just because he happens to be, you say he's black, doesn't mean that you're not related.
This is true.
I mean, same area. It's possible.
I'm gonna have to look up my family history book.
Yeah, go get out the family tree, because weird stuff. You find weird stuff in those trees. Too many nuts. But yeah, another one of my things that I'm thankful for is gonna have to be keeping the network in the U.S. or at least on the North American continent.
The Canadians only get the bastardized version.
Right. They get the watered down version. We get all the tools, and the UK guys, well, you get what you get.
With that said, I think they had the superior raw viewing experience. I've watched a couple of those feeds online from time to time, and I think it's worlds above what we get here in the States.
Yeah, obviously, I'm freaking kidding here. I want the network to go worldwide. I need them to get more subscribers, so they add more interesting content. They do more original content, because really, that's what I like about the WWE Network the most. Besides being able to watch the pay-per-views, I like the fact that I can see original programming that you can only find on the WWE Network for $9.99 a month, except for the month of November, which was apparently free. That would have been nice if they would have taken that $9.99 off of my bill, because I joined up with them day one.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, and real quick, Joe, just to add to that, I read the headline today that WWE was either planning or maybe they already have, but they started moving some of their YouTube exclusive shows to the network, which I think is an awesome move if that's the case.
I just really wish they didn't have the Raw delay.
Right.
The over a month delay, because that really hurts. I mean, if it was like a week behindish, I could get it, because then you're not that far off.
Yeah, that would make the network killer. I mean, honestly, I'm happy paying $9.99 a month for the network just to get pay-per-views and just to get NXT and some of their additional content. But if it came down to it, to pay some royalties to USA, I would totally pay more for the network to get Raw either live or on demand next day.
I would pay another $10 a month if I could get it get it that day.
Yeah,
that day or next day.
I think that'd be fine. I wouldn't mind that at all. And just to add on to that, that was one of my items too. Was the WWE Network. Just the fact that you get high quality streams available on any device. It's just a perfect program that they've got. I mean, it had some issues here and there, but overall, I mean, it's everything that I've wanted. I will not hide the fact that I've been an illegal streamer before, and ever since the network has come out, I've switched and I will not go back. The illegal streams are so awful and filled with crap and so many ads, and they're so low quality. Like paying $9 or $10 a month to get a high quality feed that I don't have to sit in front of my computer to watch. So I could, hook up my laptop to my TV and watch a full res version of it, or watch it on my Android or my iPad or whatever. I mean, that's epic. That is awesome. That is everything that we've wanted, and it's a really good step into the future. But yeah, like Blue said, the idea is great. Execution hasn't been as great. They have failed in many different areas, but overall though, I personally have been pleased. I haven't felt slighted, but then again, I'm not in the UK. So Speaking of technology, another thing that I wanted to add that I was thankful for was just the fact that while I was away from civilization for over a month in October, September and October, it really gave me, it was almost like a hurdle to be able to obtain wrestling. I didn't have it on the TV where I was living at the time. I was depending on like a really restricted, low quality internet for a while. So what I ended up doing was, and again, this is probably along the illegal lines, but watchwrestling.net has full shows available pretty much next day for WWE and TNA and even Lucha Underground right now. I use that with convert to mp3.net and Dropbox to basically download this stuff. Also, TeamViewer should add that. I downloaded all this stuff using all of that on my home PC, and then I would sync that through Dropbox on my laptop once I got to Panera. But just like the technology to be able to do that to obtain the wrestling that you want, I think is really cool. So I don't know, I just want to throw that out there. But all right, the last item that we've got on our list, and once again we are open for another caller if you want to come in. We've posted the hangout link pretty much everywhere. Yeah, again, there's been some love for Dean Ambrose, but overall on the TNA side, Nam de Plume said that TNA got the heck out of the tired and burned out Impact Zone, went to New York City for all of their critically acclaimed shows at that. Also, and something we really didn't talk about earlier was just the fact that TNA's got a new TV deal. That is fantastic. Just everything that TNA didn't die, that TNA continued to survive, that they did things, they took risks, and and it paid off. They got the TV deal. So yeah, that's a lot to be thankful for. But totally agree with that.
Quite.
Okay, well, I think with that, we can move on to win fail. Joe, your win of the week.
My win of the week is going to be the reintroduction of the Anonymous Raw General Manager. I know everybody hates it, and they hate me for breaking out the phone and but it works for me. It really does. And maybe I'm just into weird shit, but it worked.
Not disagreeing with you. It ended poorly last time, but if they do it better this time, I think it could pay off really, really well. At least the in between before they put in someone else. Like there's a lot of rumors about Wade Barrett being the new GM or Sting being the new GM or bringing back Mick Foley or even Daniel Bryan since he's not ready to wrestle again. Yeah, I'm with you. Nick, your win of the week?
My win is TNA just knocking it out of the park to close out the year. Pretty much every element of that show was good. Between the new champions, Terrence Terrell and Low Key, James Storm and the Revolution going strong, I like the fact that he seems to be messing with Mahabali Shera a little bit. And the fact that he has to awaken first before he can join the Revolution. I like where that's going. And I also like the new reckless, brutal, doesn't give a honey badger aspect of MVP.
Yeah.
Just the anarchy he's bringing about to TNA. I really like that aspect. It's all around. I think it was just an excellent show, and it's definitely a nice way to go into the new year and the new TV deal.
All right, we got wins from the live chat. Sting Sting's arrival in WWE, ROH, Wrestle Kingdom's 9's card. We've also got Daniel Bryan's appearance on Raw this week, the anonymous Raw GM. A New Day is dawning. AJ Lee's lesbian puns. Lucha Underground and TNA as a whole. And then, Sting proving that his transition to WWE is valid. All good wins. My win of the week was just WWE taking a risk and doing something surprising at the end of a pay-per-view. Not like surprising as in Big Show's heel turn, number 1572, but overall just having Sting come out with like no build, no hype. There really wasn't a whole lot of backstage talk or rumors that Survivor Series was going to be it. So it caught a lot of people off guard. I think that was just a good way to transition to wherever they're moving next. Fails of the week. Joe, your fail of the week.
Just before I get to that fail, just so you're aware, Big Show just turned again. Oh, he just changed back. Okay. Fucking flip-flopper. My fail of the week, as much as I'd like to say it's Sting, I'm going to say it's the 20-second Divas match. On the pay-per-view, that was terrible, and the rumor is that they didn't even tell them until like right before that they only had 20 seconds.
Right. I did read that as well.
20 fucking seconds.
I don't take as much issue with that, simply given the fact that they did tie it back to AJ costing Daniel Bryan the title in that 18-second match. I think tying it to that is clever, so I can respect that at least.
Yeah, and I didn't watch Raw, so I don't know where they're going with it. But yeah, just to have, just the way it happened, I'm okay with as well. Because it was like a retribution for what AJ did for to Daniel Bryan. I'm okay with it, but I'm curious where they're going, and we'll find out soon. Nick, your fail?
My fail is Sting's debut, not entirely, but the end result of it. See, when he came out, I didn't mark out, but I did get a little excited. And when he laid out Triple H and hit him with a Scorpion Death Drop, I liked that. I liked the fact that he was evening things out, that he was allowing Ziggler to finish a match his own way. And then Sting pulled Ziggler on top of Rollins, and the ref counted 3. That I am not okay with at all. Ziggler put on a hell of a performance in that match. And he came back from 3-1 odds when he'd already had the shit beaten out of him. And in that final moment, you take the emphasis, you take the spotlight off of Rollins and Ziggler. The camera didn't even flash back to them once from the second Sting's music hit until the moment that Sting pulled Ziggler on top of Rollins. It took the spotlight off those two guys who just killed themselves for everybody to see, and it put it on Triple H, who does not need it whatsoever, and Sting, which say what you will about him belonging there in the company today, but the dude's the icon. He doesn't need to steal Ziggler's thunder like that. It's bizarre. And I don't believe this hurts Ziggler's momentum going forward, but it's a moment that Ziggler won't have.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, it would have been awesome for Ziggler to win cleanly without help, despite all of the interaction and interference by Triple H and the gang. So yeah, I'm with you. I think that would have told a better story for us as fans of Ziggler, but at the same time, if you're going to bring in Sting, him taking out the Authority, which is the one of the worst groupings as far as our point of view for a while. I think that was a good thing. I think that was a good way to debut him. But I agree with you. I agree that it would have been nicer for Ziggler and Rollins to keep that spotlight on them.
Agree completely.
Fails from the live chat. We've got Big Show's promo on Raw, and also, and this is from Diva Jill. She says, "I'm not upset that Big Show turned on Cena, but the fact that every time anyone turns on Cena, it's always Big Show." And it, from my memory, that seems legit. I don't remember a lot of like anyone else really turning on Cena, except for Big Show.
There was a post on Reddit detailing all the turns Big Show's made basically since he joined WCW, I think.
Yeah,
and it's a lot less than you'd think, but like a quarter of those are turns on Cena.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, though. Yeah. So, fails for Raw with a bunch of talk, and Talking Computer as the GM again. Whatever the hell is happening between the Bellas. No follow-up Raw appearance by Sting to see Triple H out the door. And yeah, I think that's all the fails from the live chat. My fail of the week is I don't know, it's kind of on me, kind of on my attitude in WWE as of late, despite me being really interested in how Survivor Series ended. It didn't motivate me enough to watch Raw. I could have. I probably should have, but I didn't because I don't know. I'll give WWE that blame. All right, let's jump into final thoughts. Final thoughts before we head out for the night. Joe?
I think I've chimed in on just about everything I wanted to chime in on. But here's a thought. What if that's all Sting came in to do? Like, that's the end of Sting. It was purely just to see Triple H go out the door, to help in the transformation, his mass exodus, and that's it. What if that was just completely it?
It's just this and then Hall of Fame.
Yep. That would be hilarious. Like, you'd be like, what the fuck?
That would fuck with people so hard.
Would it?
I
like the idea of the possibility of it happening. God knows. I mean, he's going to make more appearances, on TV. But that would be hilarious.
Yeah, no.
Like Sting just trolled the entire IWC.
Jericho would just be seething backstage.
Nick, any final thoughts from you?
Yeah, just touching on Raw briefly. For all the shit it got, all over the internet, there were plenty of good parts to Raw. I only watched like half of it, and I was still able to list 3 separate instances on the Facebook group that I really enjoyed. That was Harper versus Ambrose, and the continuation of Bray versus Ambrose was nice as well.
Yeah. He'll have that. Yeah. I got you. Yeah, but that's WWE.
This is the first feud he's had.
You're breaking up just a little bit, Nick, but that's okay. Just WWE. It seems like as of late, especially the last 4 to 6 months, there's been more negative talk about WWE shows than compared to TNA, and it's odd for sure. But at the same time, I think a lot of it is just nitpicky stuff. There are things to be, happy with. There are good stories happening, and it's just a matter of giving patience. Like we could look at the Mizdow situation as a perfect example of that. If we waited to see how things were going to progress, I think we would have been a lot more happier with it when it first started than we were.
Don't worry, children. A new day is coming.
I can't wait.
All right. Final thought from me, and this actually was I meant to add this to what I'm thankful for, but I think this is a good way to close out the show. But one of the things I'm thankful for this year, especially because I've been kind of in and out of interest with WWE specifically and TNA at times. But I'm thankful for friends like you guys who like wrestling. I have a hard time staying motivated to watch wrestling. Sometimes because of this podcast, because this is an obligation at times for us to, have to watch WWE when really WWE is not doing well, or TNA for that matter. And, it feels more like an obligation. But once we start talking, once we start getting like into the conversation, I think it really improves my mood on the industry as a whole. And so I'm thankful for conversations like this, where we can talk positive about things that we're enjoying. So
see, you say that, but then like 2 days later, you're like, oh god, fuck, and then then we have a conversation. You're like, oh yeah, I'm excited again, and then like 2 days later, you're like, oh god, like you had a little spurt there. Hilarious.
It's definitely
He needs it fixed, man.
Completely honest. I Tuesday mornings I'm dreading the podcast at times, especially like weeks like this with WWE again not doing a whole lot. Last week for sure, Survivor Series pre-show, I was not looking forward to Survivor Series. I started putting the show doc together. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a really cool conversation to talk about this or talk about that. And then I'll go back into, oh man, like 6 o'clock with us
and
going
then you
live
go
at
back to the
7:30.
internet.
Yeah, 6 o'clock as I'm trying to like pull from the Facebook group and I'm seeing all this negativity. I'm like, oh man, I don't want to talk about this. But then once 8 o'clock hits and we're, drinking and talking about wrestling, I'm totally into it again. So thanks.
You're welcome.
Aww.
Ah.
So you hear that, internet? You're making Garvin lose his smile.
Don't make Garvin weep.
Well, and WWE's writers, but regardless. All right, and that's the show. You can go check out FTWpodcast.com for more information about us and how to get involved in the future. And join us live each and every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern on FTWlive.com. For myself, Nick, Joe, and everyone in the live chat, especially everyone that called in today, Deuce, BlueCactuar, awesome additions to the show. Thank you so much. We will see you next Tuesday, a Lucha Underground special. It's gonna be a lot of fun. See you then.
Ole?
Ole, 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 ole.